Hi, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about Troika's proposal for Might and Magic 10. I'll be honest, I'd forgotten we had done this, but recently I did an interview with Ralph Colantonio and Peter Salnikov on their YouTube channel, House of the Dev. I'll put a link in the description. And Ralph said that he always felt bad that Arcane was pitted up against Troika for Might Magic 10. And I told him, I don't even know if I knew that, but I told him, I mean, publishers do that all the time. They like, developers to compete for things. And I told him not to worry about it. We didn't get it, but I went on to work on Vampire anyway. This occurred right after Temple shipped. Troika got approached and said, "Hey, if you're interested in doing Might and Magic 10, we're soliciting proposals." And I had played a few of the Might and Magics. In fact, I played Might and Magic 6 the most. That was an interesting one. I just from the fact that they mixed science and magic just made me go, that's interesting. I know that's a hallmark of Might and Magic. In fact, one thing I did when I was told to make the proposal is I went through Might and Magics 1 through 9 to try to pull out common features in all of them. Because I'm like, if you're a big fan of Might and Magic, you're going to expect certain things in a Might and Magic 10. And I found my list. Like I said, I keep everything. So I found my notes for making Might and Magic 10. I found all my notes on Might and Magic 1 through 9. I found my commonality notes. I found a spell list I made of these spells or spells very much like them occur in most of the Might and Magics, just all this stuff. So I found themes common to all 9 Might and Magics. And those themes were a class-based character system, skill training in addition to ranks, something I loved and used in Arcanum, castles, either exploring or building or both, circuses that traveled around the map, quests that you need to do to get an audience with people, which you don't see that in a lot of other RPGs, fountains that raise stats temporarily, aging, another thing you don't see in a lot of RPGs, both normal and magical, and all the bad effects that causes. And they love to have hidden doors and switches and traps. And these were just things that I saw in all of them. So I ended up putting together a proposal. This proposal I put together at the end of 2003. And I think I sent it in January of 2004. So this is after Temple of Elemental had shipped. And we had done the few patches we were allowed to do. Something I also talked about in that House of the Dev that, in case you didn't know, Troika was contractually prevented from releasing patches to their games, all 3 of them, unless the publisher approved. And so once they stopped approving them, we couldn't put out patches, not even unofficial patches. I'm sure people may have helped modders make their patches, but I have no knowledge of this. Anyway, we had finished making those patches for Temple, and I wrote a story summary for Might Magic 10, and I'll read it to you. It's called Might Magic 10, The Source of Magic. So the party's asked by a local hedge wizard to find out why monsters are suddenly hounding his small village. After some exploration, the party can discover that a suppression artifact in a nearby cemetery is no longer working. And that's why there's skeletons and zombies are coming out. Baffled by this, the hedge wizard sends the party to his mentor in a big city, who, after more quests that he sends the party on, learns that in some areas, magic isn't working at all, and in other areas, it's working better or worse than before. So the party's main story quest now becomes to discover the cause of this problem, which leads them to the source of all magic. And from there, people who are trying to get this source and control it. Some funny things about this is I read this and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember writing this. It's so me because it has different zones of magic, and it starts small. It starts something small and then works you out into the bigger world, and it explains why you're doing it because you were the party that was around when zombies started attacking this village. One of the things that surprised me was in the design doc, I had color coded parts of the map for whether magic didn't work at all, it worked less than average, at average, as average, or better than average. I color coded them blue, um, yellow, green, and red. And as someone who started going colorblind, I have a progressive colorblindness. That could be a whole other video. Started when I was 20. By the time I wrote this document, I was in my mid-30s, and it was already significant enough that occasionally I'd show up at work, and Sharon, who worked at Troika, Sharon Shellman, who was Jason Aronson's wife, would go, your pants and your shirt don't match. And I'd be like, dang it. And I'd go home at lunch and I'd change. And now, I mean, I'm in my 50s and it's significant. Last time I went to an optometrist a few months ago, they gave me the Ishikawa color plate test where you look for the number in the bubbles, and I missed half of them. I mean, half of them. There are like 40 of these, 40 some, and I missed 23. So my color vision is bad. And for the Outer Worlds, in fact, the poor UI team, they were great. They were awesome to work with, but I made them make every user interface in grayscale first, just to prove that I could use it. Then they could color it after that. So shapes are important. Not hue, but value in the HSV space is important. But here I am writing a document in 2004 that I'm sending off that has color as part of its main story-related quest. Anyway, that amused me. So we sent this off, and I'm not sure we ever heard anything back. It just disappeared into the ether. And it turns out that, I think it was Atari doing this, they were having lots of people send in proposals. So we never heard back. I ended up working on Vampire, making, Sharkhead and Man-Bat and several other AIs. And the rest is history. But I do have the proposal. It's about 10, 15 pages. It exists. So do a lot of other proposals. I found it in a design folder filled with design proposals. Not things we were asked for, but things we just made and decided to send out and see if there was interest. But that's Might and Magic 10, the 2003-2004 Troika proposal.